part in this video, which will probably honestly never ever see the light of day. I'm going to show you how to turn this piece of trash looking side rod thing into this beautiful accurate side rods. I mean, look at those. You want those on every Tomy engine? I know you do. So turn this into this. This is like a tutorial or whatever. What you're gonna want to do first is remove this panel here. As you can see, I've already unscrewed this. Now, please excuse this terrible Percy chassis. Oh my god. Maybe that's what you get for putting Thomas wheels in a Percy chassis. Doesn't matter. Just you need to take that off, and take these wheels here out. Have everything apart like this. Make sure it's organized. Do not lose anything. That would suck. Except these. I don't know. You can do whatever you want with these. These just normal rotating wheels. But you want to keep the drive wheels because they can hold side rods, as you can see, and they have side rod mounts. So you can just go ahead, once you have your chassis like this, you can take the side rods out. And okay, so as you can see, I took the side rods here out and I laid them aside. You can just save those for later. Then you want to take your extra axle, that like was a driving wheel that can support side rods. And you're gonna want to cut off this gear here. You can either use like a Dremel or some snippy pliers, or you could rip the one of the wheels off the axle and slide it off. It doesn't matter, just as long as you can get this axle to be completely clean and smooth. As you can see on Thomas, I took the gear off there, and you can see where it used to be. Quick side note, I just switched from this wheel to this wheel because, as you can see, this wheel has some metal protruding out on the axle. It's completely so hairy and dirty. But this wheel, the gear's already broken off. It's spinning in place, and I have better ones, so I might as well just use this. It's all crusty too. All right, as you can see here, I just used a normal pair of pliers and I snipped off the gear. I think I literally just lost it. I don't know where I put it. Just pulled off the gear because it was cracked and it just slid off. If you're doing this, you might want to use some snippy pliers, which you could use to break the gear, but this worked for me. So now that you have this taken off, you can put this on and look. It might be wider spread apart already, but what you're gonna want to do, because that's not gonna fit into the axle holes. What you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to cut these pieces here down that protrude out, right? These things, those plastic blue parts that have the bit cut off there. Those are good for holding it in. You might have to re-glue the wheels or the axles to the wheels because they might fall out easily after this. But yeah, I actually did that with Thomas. You can see I just took some snippy pliers. You could use a Dremel again, like because that would also cut them down. It would cut them down a lot smoother. What I would not recommend is using like scissors or a normal pair of pliers. Those would take way longer and they wouldn't work, and it'd probably break the wheels and you might injure yourself. So do it this way, please. All right, so you can see I have these parts cut down and they're a lot shorter now. And one crucial thing is that you're gonna need at least one set of wheels to have a wheel that spins and can at least like come off a little bit, and one set of wheels to have one you can like rotate it around like that and keep the other one in place, so you can line it up with the other wheels that are already on the model. All right, so I did a few things here. I actually put some extra traction tires. I bought some spare ones and I put them on the Percy wheel or the Thomas wheel or whatever. so that it would grip better when it's rolling. You know, it's not a necessity, but it does make it grip better, and it just works better that way. As you can see here with Thomas. I'm also gonna have to file down here a little bit so that these can fit in, because right now, if I put these on, it's rubbing up against the sides, and we don't want that. All right, so as you can see, I filed down these spots here so there's more clearance, and now Percy can roll well, and also the wheel is slid only a little bit off of its axle, so it has a little more lenience, and isn't cutting as close and rubbing up against the inside of the chassis block here on the outside. And now he runs nicely. Just keep in mind though, on Thomas, I did not have to file anything down. On Thomas was fine without filing anything down. That's just something you should probably keep in mind when doing a modification like this. If you're doing it on Percy or Thomas, you don't have to do it on Thomas, at least from what I've done. Different versions. I used a Tomy Thomas for that. Different versions might work differently. This is the Hit Toys Percy. That's a Player Thomas. So yeah, yeah. You might also want to glue it on once you make sure that the holes for the side rods are in the correct placements. Okay, when the axle, I just glued the wheels down, making sure that on each side it would be in line. So if it's like that, I don't know if you get that too much, but it basically, if on one side the hole is facing down, on the other side it's facing up, but one side of the wheel is facing down, then they won't go together. They'll clash. Okay, they won't work. So you need at least one wheel that can spin on the axle, like this one, which is now glued down. But I think I'm going to shift gears here for a second and work on the actual side rods. And for a side rod modded engine, you actually need 2 sets of side rods to use. So here are the side rods that were on Percy, and I'll just have to grab another set that I could use to cut off the pegs here and put into these holes. Alright, so I have my 4 nubs here, and I can use for all 4 of these things. I'm just gonna let it dry for a while. I'm not gonna cut anything yet. I'm gonna make sure everything is the right length. And, yeah, so at this point you can just probably wait a little while until you can get the full chassis assembled when this axle is dry, because you're gonna want to wait for it to be fully dry and make sure it's not bent when it's drying. This might be a little bent. I'm gonna have to bend it back a little and assemble it, and then when it's fully assembled, except the side rods, you can use that as a point of reference. All right, now that everything is dry, as you can see the wheel is, you can begin to reassemble your chassis for the most part. Now put in the wheels, make sure everything is lined up as well with the right side, I guess. I don't know how to say that, but yeah. Just make sure you put your chassis back together, then you can take the bottom plate and just put that back in and screw it back. And by the way, you don't have to have it cut down or anything. This is just the condition that the Percy chassis was in. It worked with Thomas. As you can see, the chassis is not modified at all. Besides, yeah, no, the chassis isn't modified at all. Just the wheels. This reminds me, you can reverse this mod anytime you'd like. Just take out the side rods and put in some of these front wheels. Now that you have your assembled chassis, you can begin to cut these side rods. And the first thing you're going to want to do to pretty much all of them is just, well, I like to take the chassis and make sure these holes are all lined up. Then, since I'm lazy, I'll put like one of these on here, and I'll look where it needs to be cut, the two of them, and just cut it so that there's none of, you see where this is a dip in the middle where that ends. Make sure that doesn't end until the actual end of the side rod. You don't want to cut it like here or something, because then, or like here, because then you'll have part of the curve as well. Once I have one side rod already cut, I usually find it helpful to just use this side rod as a reference for these two. This is about where you're gonna want to cut, if this will focus. Right there. As you can see, all the side rods are cut, and I have swapped actually around these two smaller pieces, or I could have swapped around these larger pieces. I swapped them around because these ones lined up more and these ones lined up more. They lined up with each other better because some of the cuts were like uneven, going a bit sideways, and they happen to just line up better when switched around. And it's okay because I used the other side rods as a reference to make them exactly the same. Okay, as you can see here, I have glued the side rods. Now, you're just gonna leave these to dry for a while until the glue is fully dried and set. Trust me, don't try to use it when the glue is still drying. It will not work out and it will ruin your whole model. Then I'm gonna want to put some cardboard on over the gaps on the back, at least. The front isn't as necessary, just to make it look a little better and cleaner, but it's like not full cardboard either. It's I pulled off part of it off the corrugation, and it looks better now. These side rods should work great with this thinner pieces of cardboard, and now that they're glued, and I'm just gonna let them dry, and then we can put them on, and the process should probably work. Yeah. So once everything is done, you can just take your modded side rods, and you could paint them if you wanted, but you don't have to. These ones are probably better off being painted because they were being painted different colors and stuff, and it's a pretty drastic change. But on Thomas, I did actually paint them white because they had been painted red before, and I just preferred the white look. So you can just pop those side rods on. Once your Percy's chassis or Thomas or Stepney or Duck or whoever you're doing is done, Duck might be a little tricky because of his middle wheels. You might have to modify Duck's chassis a little bit more to make his work. But Stepney, Percy, and Thomas are all pretty much the same. Once you're done with that, you might go to try and put Percy's shell on, but then realize that the what's it called, this thing here, the side rods clash with that and make him run less smoothly. Now Percy, it's not as much of a problem as it was Thomas, but it still is definitely a problem. It's binding up right now, as you can see. That is not something we want. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to cut off the nub. Or, well, actually, if you just want it to run a bit smoother, you could sand it down. Now, on Thomas, that's not what I did. On Thomas, I just cut it off completely so his shell just comes off easily, because I used a big engine side rod all the way up into here, because it has the middle ring, so that looks really good, but it always will hit the nub, so I just cut that off. On Percy, though, you can just sand it down. Now, as you can see, we have a finished Percy with accurate moving side rods. And the real reason I did actually cut off the nubs here that hold him on his shell on, because it runs a lot nicer without them. But yeah, he runs a lot nicer without them, the nubs on him, which is preferred. I will be putting this Percy up on eBay, probably. He will have his chassis, but I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna take the face off. It's just a nice face that I would like to have. And it'll be a bid, probably. If you want to own this Percy, then the link will hopefully be in the description if I don't forget. But my link to my eBay is also in my channel bio. So if you want this Percy to make into your own AU Percy, or just like a custom TV series accurate Percy, he will require a little bit of work, but it's a cool thing to have nonetheless. So yeah, check out Sludge Sales on eBay. Sell a lot of cool stuff, and or just go and try to do the mod yourself. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take that long either.
Hold on, you scrotum suckers! Look over there! It's Bulstrode!
Howdy ho, boys. Let's go home.